You all know what FNAF is. It's the funny game with the bear that goes boom and a story more convoluted than the Zodiac killer case. You've seen every single one of your favorite YouTubers play this game. You've definitely played it yourself, at least one of the games in the franchise, and I feel horribly bad for you if you played Release Security Breach. Fuck that game. I'm not going to do a recap of FNAF, where it came from, where it is, and all that, because every dipshit under the sun has done something like that. Instead, why not talk about something I find even more interesting than anything FNAF has had to offer in the last few years? The fan games. Everyone has heard of the fan games. We've got our classes such as The Joy of Creation, Five Nights at Candy's, Five Nights at Anime, Five Nights at Fuckboy. Released not too long after the original FNAF, these types of fan games spread like wildfire, to the point where GameJolt has their own section for FNAF fan games, and it's mostly shite. What the fuck is Five Fingers in my ass? But out of all of these fan games, there's only one that I would consider very good, unsettling, had an interesting story, and spiced up the original gameplay cycle in a fantastic way. That game being Five Nights at Freddy's in real time. I'm joking. It's actually Juniors. Juniors was released over 2 years ago, in August of 2022, 2 years after the Bat incident, with its final update coming in August of 2023, and it is amazing. I played it when it was released and was going to make it into a gameplay video. As you can see by the lack of video, I forgot. But very recently, I picked the game back up because of a friend. This one to be precise.
He's a fucking porker. Why must you be like Fishy Sunak?
House broke out.
He mentioned it in passing and I was like, oh yeah, let's play that then. And I loved every minute of it. From the atmosphere, to the gameplay, to the obnoxiously loud music, to the story that we didn't pay attention to. It was all great. But it's best to start somewhere when it comes to talking about a game I like. So let's start with where it all begins. The title screen. From the title screen alone, you can tell what type of game you're getting into. Some sort of mysterious atmospheric horror centered around somewhere that children often go to. And no, I'm not on about the island of the Epstein. With the drawings of what seems to be mascot characters covered in blood, the black and white filter over everything makes it seem like this place is old, sometime in the 80s. It gives you a pretty good understanding of what you're getting into, and I like how it is much different from other fan games where it's just title name with less spooky character on the right. I get that FNAF did it, but like, why does every other fucking fan game do it? Like, genuinely, like, this is off script rant. Why does every FNAF fan game just do the FNAF title screen? You have so much creativity with what you can do, and you just choose to do the FNAF title screen. Do something like FNAF 4. FNAF 4's got one of the best title screens. Anyways, the next thing you'll notice is that the game is really fucking loud. I had to set the volume to 25 out of 100 just so everything was balanced right on OBS. And even then, it still caused my friend to sound quiet in the recording. This shit should have been so much quieter, but oh well. Once you actually click on the new game button, you're asked to see the tutorial. I wanted to see it, but instead of paying attention to it, me and Kane were discussing Mangle's pronouns.
It's only when Mangle comes up that I'm like, I don't remember. I remember her mechanics.
I forgot. Her mechanics?
Oh, sorry, its mechanics.
Yeah, you bigot.
That thing, that amalgamation.
You bigot!
I fucked up an animatronic.
I called Mangle a she. I was hung, drawn, and quartered.
I mistreated a lump of plastic.
Don't ask me about the weird voice we do. I don't know either. We're both mentally ill. Anyways, I like how the tutorial is laid out though. Starting off with what looks like just notes written down to a nice claymation style of animation. And since the mechanics never change, good to know how it all works before the night starts. Once we have acknowledged the tutorial, we move on to the cutscene? I don't know what to call it. It's where the story takes place. Did we pay attention at all? Of course we didn't. We did dumb voices instead.
My body. This place, it feels so erotic.
But don't worry, I'll explain the story we get given night by night. I paid attention when I rewatched the footage and got new footage as well. We awake staring at our hands, not knowing where we are. We think we might be dead because this place feels weird and we feel empty. We call out for anyone, believing we are being stalked. A crunching sound in the distance is heard. Or as Kane thinks a crunch is, a burp. We see the thing that made the noise, a ghostly apparition of a bear that looks as high as a kite. Monday night. The illustrations we are given look amazing. The artists did a really good job at creating an unnerving feeling, like you're not supposed to be there or to see any of this. We then move into an N64 style era of gameplay, an infinite void shrouding us in darkness. We see the bear in the distance, as well as 3 of the FNAF gang as cutouts. However, their faces are missing. Probably meant to be one of those stick your head and take a picture kind of things. There's some boxes with a note calling it Paul Cave, so we can assume that the bear is called Paul. If you look directly up, there appears to be what looks like a brain over this place. I actually only noticed this because of how we had to do the text. For some reason, when I was sharing the screen, whenever we were in this section, Kane's Discord screen share would move to the corner, and he could barely see anything, so I had to stare at the bear's schnoz just so he can barely read what the fuck, Discord! Back to the plot. We go up to the bear and he gives us an explanation. He introduces himself as Paul Bear and that this place is called the Barrens, a limbo between life and death. He also elaborates saying that we can go back to the real world whenever we want. We can assume this means this place is in its own pocket dimension, probably entered once falling asleep, and Paul needs our help. Since he is not alive, he cannot go back to the real world and has unfinished business. So we are going to help him. He even offers to help us with our investigation at Junior's. From this, we learn that we are a detective or a journalist of some sort trying to figure out what happened to a place called Junior's. Once we're done talking to Paul, we can go over to the bed to be transported to the real world, or in our case, to have our cheeks slapped by Venom.
Get underneath the sack sheets. I'll teleport you there now.
The climb of your ass cheeks.
Yeah, wave my finger. Think about it.
It's like Dorothy. Instead of clacking her shoes, I clap your cheeks. There's no place like home.
You ever watched the hit anime? JJK. He goes, best of friend, no.
Absolute cinema. Right, 20 minutes of a horror game and we've just gone...
Oh no.
Once transported back to the real world, we are then greeted with our office. The gameplay of Juniors is pretty simple, but incredibly nerve-wracking, especially on later nights. There are 6 animatronics you have to worry about: Freddy, Foxy, Chica, Bonnie, Puppet, and Balloon Baby. I don't know why it's not Balloon Boy, shut up. On the right are your cameras. It takes up a small section of the screen in the middle, and another screen to the right that has all the camera options. You can move the cameras around it WASD, as some animatronics like to hide on certain cameras. You must keep track of the animatronics throughout the night and make sure they don't go into your office. Is what most other fan games want you to do, but not Juniors. Instead of trying to stop the animatronics from getting to you so they can give you free pizza, you have to detect which animatronic is haunted. There are many telltale signs to this, such as handprints on the cameras moving themselves, or the lights flickering. Once you have detected the haunted animatronic, you must look to the center of the office, open your laptop, scroll to the correct animatronic, and mark it as haunted. Do this a few times a night and you're all set. This by itself is pretty easy, as there's no time limit. You don't have until 6 AM, you have as long as you need. Except you don't. On the center laptop, you may notice these numbers going down. That is the animatronic stability, and if it reaches 0, you die. Stability decreases slowly over the night, and can be decreased further if you mark the wrong animatronic as haunted. To fix this stability, you can call an animatronic for maintenance. Once they make it through rush hour traffic on the conveyor belt, you can then go into the room to your left and fix them. Yoink their head chip, bin it, grab a new one, and place it in their head. This gives them some stability back, but be careful, as there are 2 main caveats to this. 1, if you call an animatronic, you cannot suspect them as being haunted until you have repaired them. And 2, if the animatronic is haunted, it will kill you instantly. So if you make the mistake of calling the haunted animatronic, you can't backtrack on it, and you will have to face the consequences. Foxy was the haunted one, god damn it. But you can actually use this to your advantage. If you know that there is an animatronic that is not haunted, you can then call that animatronic and get them repaired, and when the ghost haunts an animatronic, it will not jump into the animatronic that is currently being repaired. You can also use this at the beginning of the night before the ghost even haunts anyone, so that you can make sure that at least one will not be haunted. And on top of all of this, Balloon Bitch and the Puppet work differently to the main 4. Puppet is invisible. You cannot see them on the cameras, only having their lullaby play in the background. And Balloon Bastard isn't on the cameras at all. If he's haunted, his stability glitches out. It's an easy spot, but if you're so focused on trying to make sure it's any other animatronic, you can waste so much time if you never check for that little bold, blithering, bastardly bollock brain Buckminster Fullerene. That's not an insult, I just googled a long word that began with B because I wanted to sound smart. I find this gameplay loop to be very fun and very intense near the later nights, and especially the custom night, which I didn't finish nor bother trying the hardest mode. I saw Astral Spiss video on that shit. I do not have the mental strength for that. I beat 50-20 mode like 5 years ago, and that's good enough for me. I will not be doing a custom night and trying to do like a 50-20, 10-20, 4-20, whatever the fuck on any other FNAF game. I'm done with that shit. I got better things to do, like grind Dead by Daylight. Once you have completed the night, instead of saying night complete, it says investigation complete. What investigation did we do? I don't know. I was more concerned on why the puppet was haunted. It was Puppet?
Fucking poopy.
I thought Puppet appeared on cameras. Moving on, I turned my volume down again and started night 2/chapter 2. Who is Paul Bear? Meeting up with Paul Bear, he asked how our night went, to which we respond with how it went well and there was a lot of paranormal activity. He comments that a ghost is using the same old tricks, so he knows there's a ghost there. We promptly call him out because he's a ghost, and there's a ghost at Junior's, so why doesn't he just go there? After a long silence, he explains that he's a posse and is scared of the ghost girl in Junior's, which is why he sends us to do it. We say how we feel like bait, to which he says, yeah, I get it, but like, talk tomorrow, dickhead, do my job. But before we went and did our shift, we messed around with Paul Bear's head tracking because we have the attention span of a goldfish.
Oh. Spot some bullshit.
Smish. Night 2 starts, and it's where I die first. For a while, I didn't know the music meant that the puppet was in the room. I thought it was a red herring or a sign another animatronic was haunted. So Chica and the puppet were in a room, and the lights were flickering. And because of my lack of knowledge, I assumed it was Chica that was haunted, which caused her to lose most of her stability. I then guessed balloon twat, because I didn't know his whole thing was stability glitching, meaning I was double fucked. Needless to say, I died very fast. Fuck you! It was Marionette! Marionette got haunted twice in a row. Listen for Puppet's lullaby to know where she is. What's the lullaby?
Maybe that's the music.
Well, no, because it wasn't Puppet. Or it might have been, actually.
Yeah, but they can still move around whilst not being possessed.
Yeah, I know they can still move around while not being
So
possessed.
I'm assuming the music is where the puppet is.
I'm guessing so. Very soon after, I also figured out Balloon Butt Muncher's mechanic and swiftly beat the night. After this night is complete, you gain access to a VHS tape with the title Freddy and Friends Backstage and Episode 1. You are given the option to watch it or leave it alone. I, of course, watched it because of the story, but I focused more on the animation going, lol, I know what software they used, because I'm fucking stupid and autistic and I like Blender. In the VHS tape, we see Freddy holding what seems to be a silver arm, walking down a corridor all the way to a door. The door had a flashing red light with a sticky note on the front. Once in focus, it reads, "Beware the Mangle." Freddy enters the room. He seems to be regaining his consciousness. He looks up in fear. The light flashes red. The tape glitches. End of tape. We don't know the ending of Freddy, but we can piece together that he was under some form of hypnosis, transporting pieces for an animatronic. And once he regained consciousness, it was already too late, and that he was killed. Perhaps assimilated into the Mangle, becoming one with its consciousness. We don't really know, so all we can do is continue on with the nights to Chapter 3, The Mangle. After going back to Paul Bear, or in our case, making Weezer references for no reason and giving him a blowjob, we then talk to him. Wait, hold the fuck up, what the fuck? For no reason and giving him a blowjob. POV, you're giving that good head. What the fuck did we do? He asks us how it went, which we then tell him about the VHS tape we found, left by the ghost as a message. We tell him about what was in the VHS tape, Freddy carrying an arm and a door with the Mangle. We come to the conclusion, with the help of Paul Bear, that the ghost is trying to make itself a new body, using animatronic parts, calling itself the Mangle. I really like this interpretation of Mangle. Most fan games have Mangle as just a mix of parts, or as the animatronics joined forces like a Power Ranger mech, or as the original lore has it, just an animatronic that was taken apart over and over again. So it's nice to see it as one of the animatronics trying to make itself an animatronic to haunt. It's probably my favourite way Mangle has been introduced in a fan game. While we're at it, I'm going to talk about the design of the animatronics themselves because they are fantastic. Each design still fits their FNAF OG counterparts whilst mixing in style of Chuck E. Cheese animatronics. It's almost like rustic feel, if that makes sense. The way the suits are actually suits of cloth and stretchable materials adds to the really uncanny feel you get by looking at them, which goes against the more rigid style FNAF goes for, but works super well. The headpieces look like they are just thrown on top because of how wide and bulky the necks are, making them feel gigantic in the camera view. Out of all the animatronics, other than the later ones we haven't seen yet, so I won't spoil, Foxy's redesign is my favourite. It's the perfect blend of something trying to look child-friendly, but just looking off enough to make you feel incredibly unsettled looking at it. The withered parts are done incredibly well, especially around the neck, letting you see the animatronic parts underneath. The only downside I have is he doesn't have his eye patch, but I can let that slide because everything else is just perfect on him. I'd say the weakest design is Balloon Bin. His design doesn't look very uncanny and it leans too far into the outright creepy. Doesn't look like it's trying to be child friendly at all, it just looks awkward. It's not a bad design, far from it, but it's definitely the weakest. Also, why does he have hair? That's just weird. Moving on to night 3, there's nothing of note. Quite literally, I didn't die or get something wrong. With the most notable thing happening was me missing the repair like twice on Bonnie, so nothing of note until the end of the night, I guess. We get another VHS tape, this one labeled Episode 2. It starts off with Freddy looking traumatized, shaking in fear. So he seemed to have not been killed as I first thought, but he was scared from what we saw. We are shown a diagram of whatever that is, but from the multiple limbs, the Foxy style head and the jumbled design, we can assume this is the Mangle. After some close-ups of the drawing and Freddy, it cuts to Bonnie, who is also on the table, looking almost disinterested in the whole thing. I don't know why, but he just seems so. Either that or it's more of a closeted fear, not wanting to show his concern. We slowly fade away into a different scene, with just the characters, and a paper ghost flying away from Freddy into Bonnie. One thing of note is that when the ghost leaves Freddy, his eyes go from black and a white dot to white and a black dot. From this, we can infer that even during the scene at the table, Freddy was possessed. Was this all an act by the ghost to get close to Bonnie and possess him? Or did Freddy even know he was still possessed? We don't really know, nor get an answer. Once the ghost goes to Bonnie, he is walking down the same corridor as Freddy with an animatronic leg. He reaches the door, but instead of seeing his reaction to what's inside, it cuts back to Freddy at the table, staring at the picture of the two. My guess is Bonnie never came back after his visit to the Mangle's room. But my question is, why did Freddy come back and Bonnie didn't? Did the ghost need a host to lure some more of the animatronics? Or was Freddy there to warn them about the Mangle, making the others curious about it, which in turn made them get close enough to be possessed and bring parts? It's unclear, but it leaves enough doors open for Night 4. A new friend. We go to meet Paul Bear again, but this time with the power of idol transfiguration, he turns himself into a ladder. Funniest shit I've ever seen. Going up the ladder, we get hit with a cutscene. The same style as the first night. Kane was very happy with this, so he started singing.
We're running out of time.
Shut
Shut the fuck up!
We are worried about our investigation since it's ending soon. We need to be fast and contact the ghosts and invade the thing she's protecting. The Mangle. Paul Bear is worried though, as by now the ghost knows he's with us and he is what she wants. We say we will protect him. This leads into a really nice moment where Paul Bear thanks us for being around and for being a good friend, something he hasn't had for a long time. We then say we will use the power of friendship to beat Mangle. I killed myself on the spot. Night 4 was the first time me and my mate registered the skeleton thingy when the camera was still. If you don't move your camera, you see these wires where the animatronics are. This helps with letting you see them if you are blind, which we very much are. I also died on this night because of the handprint mechanic. The way it's described in the game is just look for the handprints. So I took that as if there is an animatronic in the room and there is a handprint on the camera, the animatronic is haunted. Doing this method, I died to Bonnie. What the mechanic actually is when the animatronic leaves the room, they leave a handprint behind. I saw Bonnie leave a camera, no handprint. I switched to where Foxy and Puppet were, and there's a handprint. So Bonnie left room A, went to room B, and the frame before I check room B, he fucks off to room C, making me think Foxy or the Puppet was possessed, leading to my inevitable demise. Other than that, the night went without a hitch. Another tape! It starts off with a sleeping Chica dreaming about pizza and snoring with her newt newt snoot. A shadow Bonnie leans over her. Her dreams turn to a ghost and she arises awake with possessed eyes. She hobbles down a hallway holding a part, and we get a quick shot of an endoskeleton of something jittering about. End tape. There isn't much to comment on here other than Bonnie's returning, as I assumed he didn't return from the previous tape. However, he did, and while possessed, found Chica to possess her. But we can assume the Mangle is near completion, considering it started to move now. All we can do now is move on to Chapter 5, Last Night of Sanity. We go back to Paul Bear, who asks us about the plan. We plan on taking the ghost by surprise, needing a way to get into the basement without her knowing. Paul Bear is cautious of this because the ghost knows about the basement, so she will be vigilant on anyone entering. So we must do our best to get in and finish our investigation. We then start the next night after I have a schizophrenic episode. We started the night and Kane decided to play a mobile game instead of paying attention. So he got hit with the dating adverts. No fingerprints.
I'm playing my game on Dragons. Stop trying to get me on the AI dating sites. I ain't that much of a degenerate. I just want to speed up my Dragons training. And instead, I get handed horrendous AI bullshit.
I'm trying to fucking focus here. The game then punished us by making me an idiot, unable to repair Bonnie before calling the next animatronic, calling Foxy on a whim, and Foxy was the haunted one. Series of unfortunate events, but we've ball. And then, the same fucking thing happened. The ghost was in Chica. I call out Chica. The ghost re-haunts Chica instantly. I didn't finish repairing Bonnie in time. I call Chica down, and I die. Oh, it was Chica. Bonnie is a bad luck charm, I swear. But after this, I got the night done. Yet another tape! It starts off with kids' drawings covered in blood. One is of the puppet giving a gift to a kid. Give gifts, give life. We then see the gang holding parts, and a shot into darkness as we hear the classic Mangle static. A glowing mouth is shown as the static gets more demonic. Cuts to black. If it isn't obvious already, the animatronics are now the Mangle, and the Mangle is alive and wants food. Back to Paul Bear, the schnoz man. He tells us about the door leading to the basement. He's checked it out, and the ghost has turned it into their own little game. I swear to God, if I have to play Monopoly with this dickhead, I will throw hands. Our plan is to play along, then trap her in Paul Bear's realm to rot with the other souls. Junior's ends tonight. I was so enthralled by this, I had these words to say. What a one. I also forgot the door was to the basement and got confused. What is the door? What is the bed or the door? How I am alive is a mystery. Once the cutscene is over, we're thrown into a different looking office. It has a hallway in front of you and 2 vents, one to your left and one to your right. This shit looks very familiar. Taking inspiration from FNAF 2, which happens to be my least favourite FNAF game, other than Security Breach, you think I'd hate this section. But I didn't. I actually loved it. Comparing it directly to FNAF 2, there are many things that Junior's does better. For starters, the darker atmosphere of the office really helps add to the tension. One thing I hated in FNAF 2 is how bright everything is. Comparing it to the other FNAF games released during that time, everything looked desaturated and dark, with colour coming through but overall being quite dim. Whereas FNAF 2 is very bright colour-wise, it's just dark in the cameras, but you can still see how saturated everything is. In Junior's, everything is much darker and grittier. Even though it's hard to see in the cameras, you can see everything is desaturated and lacking any sort of life. One thing I would change though is the monitors in the office. It shows the ghost flickering and jerking throughout the night, but it's honestly more annoying than creepy. If it was there for a small amount of time at the beginning of the night, that would have been cool. Also, the music box wind-up isn't a big-ass button, it's a tiny wheel that should be bigger, because quite often I missed the fucking button. The gameplay is quite literally just FNAF 2, but faster and with less animatronics, only focusing on the main 4 and the puppet. All the animatronics are withered versions of the designs, which I honestly didn't notice till I looked at the behind the scenes. There could have been more visual to show that it was a withered animatronic or a withered variant of those animatronics. The only one that I saw looked different was the puppet, but I get that it's kind of hard to do that when looking in the cameras in the normal night. It's kind of hard to make out any details, you know, as important to make it like a withered, but it still could have been done. One thing you may have noticed though is that we didn't start at 12 PM. We started at 10 PM. Why, you may ask? Well, if we skip to 1:30 AM, this happens.
Maybe. There you go.
What I've got to do?
You sit there and watch.
That mini cutscene is a minute long. Thank God we only have to watch it once. All the animatronics have merged into the Mangle, and we have to survive from it. Until 6 AM! Who could have fucking guessed you have to survive till 6 AM in a FNAF game? With the Mangle, it plays differently to the other 4. Sort of. Mangle will appear in the corridor. You flash him and she will disappear. They will send out their owl to check on you through the vents. Put on your mask till her owl pisses off. Find the ghost in the cameras and flash the ghost. Failing to do so will cause your cameras to break and soon your flashlight. Without either of those, you're beyond fucked. Sounds simple, right? Well, it is in concept. Not in gameplay though. This was the first night I had trouble with, and the last night I had trouble with because it's the last one. The Mangle in the corridor was fine, and the ghost kid was alright. The owl, however, was a piss take. It makes a very loud audio stinger when it appears in the vents, like this. However, this sound gets muffled quite easily with all the other stuff happening in the night. Watching back, it's easy to hear, but when you're in the night itself, it can be difficult to notice, causing you to die. There were several times where I switched camera views, or I saw the ghost and flashed it, and the ghost disappeared, and I assumed that was a noise for the ghost or the camera, when it was actually a noise for the owl. So, bit annoying. This, however, I eventually got used to, but I did notice that I had to get the ghost. Because of how fast this night is, and how you have little time to react to stuff for the most part, and because I'm dumb, I didn't notice the tip thing at the top of the screen telling me what to do. Would I have read this anyways? No, I like figuring things out, but there could have been some warning before the Mangle section actually started. During the laptop sequence, there's some sticky notes on the tablet. One could have said, she flees from light, or something cryptic like that so you can figure out, ah yes, ghost hate light, let's start a rave! But nope! I died a few times during this night because I didn't know I had to find the ghost, and when I did know that, I thought I could take my time and that it was some sort of secret ending, or just finding her is the condition for winning. Similar to the Joy of Creation, where you have to find Golden Freddy X amount of times, but nope. I just have to live until 6 AM, which I eventually did, not after actually being jump scared for the first time. Whoa! Fucking hell!
Jesus fuck!
That's the first jump scare to get me. Once this night was over, I was greeted by the kid's face shrouded in darkness, like that one F&F mod. Did I just make an F&F reference? God, I should kill myself. We then cut to ourselves waking up with the cool art style. We try and find Paul Bear, which doesn't take long as he screams out for help. The kid got him. Rest in peace, I already forgot who you are. After the kid shows confidence, we then do what we should do with all children of Birmingham, stabbing them in the back with a metal pipe. It is done. And after all that, Juniors reopens with heavy rebranding, aka into the FNAF 2 location, as evidenced by them referencing Jeremy, the guy who plays in FNAF 2. The game ends. Juniors is a brilliant game. I would call it my favourite FNAF fan game. It has good atmosphere, a good display of new mechanics, brilliant designs for the animatronics, and more. Is it perfect? Fuck no. I have my complaints, such as the game is a little too easy, minus the custom night, which I refused to complete after seeing Astral Spiff struggle. Everything was just easy. There didn't feel like there was a danger or a threat throughout most of the night. Sure, I felt uneasy, but that was more just due to the atmosphere, not the fact that it felt difficult or like I was struggling. Other fan games usually ramp up at night 3, or even night 2 in some cases, and are very difficult for night 5. But Juniors just didn't have that at all. Even Mangle's fight didn't feel too challenging, it was just a bit hard to hear the sound of the owl at times, which I got used to. Ending this on a positive note though, the developers are actually working on a remaster called Juniors Into the Flip Side. It's an expansion on the Juniors game, making it more in real time and having more in the Paul Bear sections. Instead of it just being a bed, it seems to be a full village with a bunch of NPCs, which is really cool. Knowing my workflow, this will be released once my video comes out. I started this script in March. It is November and I'm just finishing it. The game looks really good. There's a full 30-minute interview with the devs about it. I will be leaving that link in the description in case you want to watch it. Anyways, now that that's over, time to work on a new video. And I think I know what I want to cover. Hello, it's Editing Faceless here, completely unscripted. First of all, thank you for watching all the way up until this point. If I sound quiet, it's because it's 1 AM and I don't really want to wake up my mom and dad. And 2, I apologize for taking an incredibly long time. I am lazy. Simple as. There is no, oh, I was busy with university. No, I'm just a lazy piece of shit. Don't worry, the next video will not take as long. And I know I said that in the Dead by Daylight video, but this time it actually won't take as long, because I know what I want to do. When I finished the Dead by Daylight video, I didn't know what I wanted to cover next. I was making a load of scripts and starting stuff, but it was either too long or I lost interest, and this was one of those that I lost interest in, and the only reason I finished it is because I rekindled that interest later, and I've just been editing it whilst been talking to my mates. Next video is going to be on Marvel Rivals, and then my goal is after that to do a video on Deadlock. Marvel Rivals I've been playing a lot recently with my friends, and we've been enjoying it as much as it's a shit show, but you'll get to hear my opinions later. And Deadlock is just, it's gonna be the next big game. I know that for a fact, and I love it a lot, so I'm gonna have a lot of fun talking about that, hopefully when it's in its open beta. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.